I'm still doing my Expendables series stuff here, so make sure you click that subscribe button because it's getting close to the end of the year. I'm trying to hit 200, and I'm actually going to start doing this at the top of some of my videos this year just to make sure that I get to 200. Click subscribe. This is the Expendables 2. It's directed by Simon West, which is a change from the first film, which was directed by Sylvester Stallone. Simon West is probably best known for, I actually know what he's best known for, but I'm going to say Con Air. I'm gonna pick Con Air out of his resume, but he's got a lot of action films in his piggy bank. Um, this film does have a returning cast of Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, Jet Li, Dolph Lundgren, Randy Couture. Uh, Charisma Carpenter is back again. And it mixes it. Oh, and Terry Crews is back too. And it mixes it up with some newer cast members. Jean-Claude Van Damme is in this, along with Chuck Norris. So this is kind of the epic one. This is the one that I think everybody really wanted to see happen because they also kept in their smaller roles, Bruce Willis and Arnold Schwarzenegger show up again as Church and Trench. So you got Stallone, Van Damme, Norris, Willis, Schwarzenegger, all of the same film, all sort of from the same era. The people who used to anchor your. The only person really missing is Steven Seagal. If we're being honest, this is for people who grew up on like 80s and 90s action films. You're pretty solid here. This is it for you. This is the film. Um, and Liam Hemsworth for some reason is in this. I don't know why. I didn't know why back then. I was like, why Liam Hemsworth? I mean, I get what they're trying to do with the character, but still, Liam Hemsworth? Like, it felt just so weird. I was like, what has he contributed to the action genre? I feel like there are younger people that they could have picked up who have done more for action films than Liam Hemsworth has done, including his brother. Um, so yeah, so Liam Hemsworth is in this as well. And it does have audio description. I purchased the all the Expendables movies so that I could head up to Expendables 4. It was just really cheap. And it's like I mean, I got three of the four of them had an audio description and the other one that didn't was the director's cut, and I was like, well, maybe I'll get something out of that. So it felt like a solid deal, so that I can watch the fourth film. But yeah, the second film is basically if you like the first film, you like the second film in terms of quality. I really think they're kind of both the same film. They were both R's before this franchise decided to go PG-13. And yeah, it's exciting. It's action packed. Like I said, they brought in Van Damme and Norris at least for whatever the contributions are, they're there at least. I mean, we could say that they're around. Um, I love that Jean-Claude Van Damme's name is so close to the word villain that if you, for us blind folk, if you use your narrator and you, like I looked him up on IMDb, I looked up the whole cast to make sure that I got everybody, all the main players. It just says villain. his his name is just so close to villain that it just basically it says it in a weird way. It says like villain, but it just that's what the screen reader. I'm like, okay, so cute. Um, it's I I did have a little bit of trouble with this film though because of the audio description, and I'm sort of in a little bit of a debate, so I'm not gonna cite a company um just yet because it may or may not be the same company. But trying to figure out, got an investigative team. I've got my crack team of investigators figuring out, because when I mentioned this on an audio description board about some major problems that the film has, they were like, "We don't have this narrator. Who is Travis?" That's a great question. Um, I think what's really interesting is this idea that we need to have narrators with one names. I'll tackle that for 2 seconds. So Travis and Elias, I don't know why you have one name, but you're not Cher. And you work in a field, by the way, which is totally acceptable to just create your own name. Guess what? Vin Diesel, that's not his real name. I don't know if you know that or not. It's not his real name. Vin isn't his first name either. His first name is not Vincent. So it's totally he just mixed up his name. So the idea that you need to reach some sort of level of anonymity by having one name is bizarre. Please just start using two names. Just come up with something. It doesn't have to be real. Nobody knows. You can have a pseudonym. Fucking Mark Twain. Like his name wasn't Mark Twain. Come up with something more clever than just Travis Elias. No. I'm sorry, but no. Because then it stops any narrator whose name is Travis and Elias from coming along after you. And then it's like, yeah, my name's Travis, but I'm not that Travis. I'm not Travis. I'm Travis Johnson, or whatever. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. This one name narrator stuff is just, it bothers me. Um, but Travis, uh, he's got a good voice for narration. I wouldn't mind hearing it again. My problem with the description is the way that it's written. It does trample some dialogue. It's not the worst thing in the world. I would prefer for it not to, but I could make a case for certain scenes where dialogue could be trampled. It's just that like 99% of the time you don't really need to do it. It's like, what are you offering? If what you're offering is not really that important, then don't trample the dialogue. But if what you're offering is like, we need to know this information and we need to know it in that exact moment, go for it. And for some of that stuff, it can be jump scares. Um, like if you can get a jump scare that isn't accompanied by deafening sound, that would cause you to be able to actually give us the description of the jump scare at the time of the jump scare instead of before or after, go for it. Even if they're talking. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if somebody's about to get stabbed and there isn't that cheap sort of that they do in the score where it's like like all of a sudden it's just like a really loud noise that accompanies the jump scare. Cheap directors do that. We have so many cheap directors. They're like the scare itself isn't enough. They have to have loud noises out of nowhere. Um, you know, anywhere. Anywhere that would be scary. If you were just silent, and then all of a sudden there was just bang, a loud noise anywhere, that would be scary. So, if you could get it in there, go for it. Interrupt the dialogue. That means sometimes that's the whole purpose of the scene. You know, like Samuel Jackson's scene in Deep Blue Sea. Nobody really gives a shit what he's saying. Just the whole purpose of that is to lull you into a sense of security so that they can rip out the rug. So rip out the damn rug. I can't remember if there's a loud sound that accompanies that, but if there isn't one, then do that. Then just take it. But that's not what was happening here. There were just scenes. Um, there was one scene where I do remember Stallone was talking to the female character. I don't know what her name is. And she uh she was talking and they had to describe his like facial expressions or something. And the problem is that the sound balancing here is so bad that it knocked her sound to where she was like inaudible. There's no real balancing here. It's just the audio description track just hammers the film's volume all the way down. It's very jarring. It made for a very disruptive viewing experience for me. I didn't enjoy this experience at all. I've seen the film before. So luckily I can comment on it. Um, and the extended stuff that Bruce Willis and Schwarzenegger get to do is fun. Towards the end of the film, there's this thing at the airport. It's an airport, I think. Yeah. Um, and yeah, stuff happens and it's cool. And I remember Chuck Norris's little cameo thing, and that was cool. And I remember this film vaguely. This one was from 2012. I'm pretty certain I've only seen this once. So it wasn't coming back to me as much as the first film was, which I watched without audio description, but more of the scenes came back for me than this one. Um, like there's a character that gets killed that I totally forgot actually died, and it's kind of like a huge plot point. And I was like, whoa, I forgot that. Gone, totally forgot that. So yeah, I totally forgot that happened. So, I did not, it didn't recall everything for me, but certain things, yeah, there were certain scenes that were kind of cool the first time around when I was able to see them when I still had my sight in 2012 that were fun. Simon West has been able to direct a couple. He's a mixed bag. He does have some films on his resume where you would roll your eyes probably and be like, I don't know, that wasn't that great. But he does have at least a couple films on there where you'd be like, oh, I like that. So, and he pretty much stays in the action genre. So he was a good swap for Stallone, who I guess just wanted to focus on acting in this one, get his acting chops on. Uh, it's this is a fun film. If you liked the first one, you'll like the second one. If you didn't like the first one, you won't like the second one. They're pretty much the same. We didn't really change it up a lot. They kind of kept the same tone. It's the same sort of level of brutality and violence and score and jokes, and everything is pretty much the same. It's a really adequate sequel for what it is that you're trying to go for. So I gave the first film a B. So if you were somebody who gave Expendables 1 like a C or a D, you would probably give Expendables 2 the exact same grade. I can't imagine there being much fluctuation between the two, except for maybe like a plus or a minus, like a slight, one way or the other. You might get suddenly more excited because Jean-Claude Van Damme is in this instead of instead of Eric Roberts. We definitely upgraded the villain, I have to say. Eric Roberts to Jean-Claude Van Damme is worth, if you want to slide it up like a couple points. I totally understand that, because now you have a villain worth being in fight sequences. Eric Roberts couldn't be in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was never going to be like a fight scene between Eric Roberts and Jet Li. This just wasn't never going to happen. So, but yeah, Van Damme can actually handle himself a little bit. What I found to be incredibly interesting, though, is the amount of stunt doubles. Now, what I will give Travis props for is I think every single credit was was read off to me, which in a world of credits not being read or selectively read, man, I knew I got everybody. Everyone has a stunt double. Everyone, even people who like are known for doing most of their own stunts, like Jet Li and Jason Statham are known for doing their own stunt work. They still have stunt doubles, and I didn't even really take that into consideration that they would need stunt doubles for certain sequences. So I guess they do. But some people have like a stunt double and then they also have a driving stunt double. It was very interesting. But it's like, it's all these people who are all these action stars who, to some extent have all been doing their own fighting. And I get it. They're getting up there in age too. And some of the stuff is harder to do. So, Van Damme, who even started out in stunt work, he was originally offered the role of the Predator, in Predator. So, yeah, when you have actors like that are known for being able to handle themselves, then yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what their stunt double was doing, but there was probably one or two scenes where they felt like, yeah, we don't want to injure the star. Plus, the star is getting a little old, so let's not throw them across the room, fling them. So they have somebody else flung across the room instead. Um, just a lot of random thoughts on this film. I it's you have different thoughts when you watch a film a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever time than you did the first time. The first time it just hits you and like everything is new. Everything is bright, shiny, and new. And then the second time you're like, these are the things I think about after having already thought about the film once before. So, um anyway, audio description, the balancing needed to be way better than this. I would love to hear the film balanced correctly and then decide from there what the written narration was like, because it was so hard to tell how much was being trampled because it's not even remotely close to being balanced. It's almost like it's so close to dropping the sound out totally. Do you know what I'm saying? And to just like turning the sound off of the film and then turning on audio description. It's pretty close to that. It was wildly different. And I actually had opportunity to watch this on two different devices and it was the same way. So it wasn't because of how I was, I don't have some super amazing uh, system the first time I watched it, because there was a question about the audio description. I pulled up the thing again. I pulled it up on a different device than I did when I watched it the first time, and it was still having those problems. So it has those problems as like part of the device, not part of what I watched it on. It's unlikely that two different devices would have the same problem. So anyway, um, I think the film is worth watching. Try to find one with a better track than this. Don't buy it from the iTunes store. If you're really interested in Expendables too, try to don't get it from the iTunes store. Try to find it somewhere else. Um, I didn't. This is not. It's one of my least favorite audio descriptions. Um, and yeah, I'm gonna give the Expendables 2 a B. Like I said, I think they're both kind of the same film. I kind of have fun with them. And I tried to have fun this time around. So I kind of remember I gave these films about the same grade when I saw them in theaters, and now I kind of feel about the same way of them. So I think this is probably about the same. These films might even be more fun the second time around because you kind of know that they're silly, and that you know you get that Expendables vibe, and they're not trying to win Oscars. They just want to blow shit up. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And please click that subscribe button. Like I said up at the top, I just want to be above 200 by the end of the year, and I've got like a few days left to do that. So I just want to talk about audio description for the largest audience possible, and the only way I can do that is by continuing to grow my audience. Otherwise, streaming services won't notice when I'm trying to call them out for lack of audio description on titles. I also have a website, macthemovieguy.com. You can follow me on X, Threads, or Instagram at MacTheMovieGuy. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know what has audio description and where you can watch it. And you can go to the adna.org. That's the adna.org. It'll let you know who's narrating your favorite films and television series. That's it for me today. I will be watching Expendables 3 next, obviously, and I will see you guys on the other side.